Well, Maryland and Virginia's new legislative sessions begin this week. We are joined now with a look at some of the big issues for debate in Maryland. Delegate Kumar Barve of Maryland, he's the Maryland House Majority Leader, joins us. Now, let me ask you this. Last couple of years, you've been cutting the budget. This year, experts say, observers say, you've got to raise revenue. Does that mean taxes, specifically gas tax?
Well, let's first set the context. Of course, we always balance our budget. We always do it on time. And for 50 years in a row, we've had a AAA bond rating. Now, within that context of fiscal conservatism, we are going to continue to cut spending. Yes, there are some proposals for a gas tax increase.
How much?
And they run the gamut. Some people have proposed 15 cents, which I think is a bit steep, and voters will find it that way. Others have suggested, and I've certainly supported the idea of changing it so that it's indexed to inflation, so that, like the sales and income taxes, goes up slightly.
Yeah, but let me just underline, that's 5 to 15 cents per gallon for the consumer.
Right, that's what those proposals are, yeah.
Any other fees you anticipate besides the gas tax?
Well, you know, there's been some talk of dealing with the flush fee, which is, of course, the vehicle, which is the funding source through which we keep the Chesapeake Bay clean. I don't know if that's going to happen either.
Now, let me ask you about the gas tax. Does that money go to building roads or for some other purpose?
Well, you know, that's an important issue. One of the proposals is to change the Constitution to guarantee that the money will only go for transportation, and I think that's a sound change.
All right, let me change the subject. And you were a sponsor and a strong advocate on the floor of the House for marriage for same-sex couples.
That's right.
It passed the Senate. But surprisingly, the, quote, more liberal House, you failed to get the vote, so it didn't come to a vote.
Right.
What about this year?
Right. I was the prime sponsor. We believe we were 3 votes short in the House, and the bill was sent back to committee. This year, the governor of the state of Maryland, Martin O'Malley, is going to be the prime sponsor. He's a very persuasive guy, and I believe that we will get the 71 votes we need, and it will pass.
Well, just let me ask you, do you have any insight on that? I mean, going into the session, are you going to have to convince 3, or do you already have them in your pocket? I don't mean pocket.
Well, no, let me, yeah, right, my pockets aren't that large. Let me say this. There are a lot of people, this gay marriage issue has been a journey for many people, and there are a lot of people who are very close to being in favor of it, but it's something that people really needed to process in their minds. Well, people have had a year to think about it now, and I think they'll be ready.
You thought it was going to pass last year. This year, you think?
I think it will pass this year.
Okay. And you feel more confident or very confident?
I feel confident, but I don't want to take anything for granted.
Okay. Finally, the DREAM Act, which gives in-state tuition at Maryland colleges and universities to the sons and daughters of illegal immigrants. Opponents have brought this to referendum, which will come up in 2012 at the election year, and they are opposed, saying, why spend Maryland dollars when the state is strapped for daughters and sons of illegal immigrants?
First, it's important for your viewers to understand what the bill does. Number one, these people or their guardians have to file tax forms for 3 years. Number two, they go to community college for 2 years. Number three, they then only compete with out-of-state students, not Maryland students, for the University of Maryland. And number four, if they're men, they have to sign up for the draft. And finally, after doing all of those things, they get in-state tuition rates that everybody else gets, but they don't get any tuition money. They don't get any scholarship money. It's a myth that we are giving money away to people. We're not. This is a very strictly tailored measure.
But it is out of the hands of the legislature.
Correct.
Now. It goes to the voters' general referendum in November.
And the polling shows that it's close. So I believe that if we can educate people as to what the bill really does, I believe it can win.
House Majority Leader Kumar Barve, I'll be seeing you on Wednesday at high noon in Annapolis. As always, good to see you.
Great to see you, too.